nobody hotter. Thank you for tuning in with your girl Tasha. We handle business, we ain't about to gossip. Here to uplift ya, now it's time to boss up. Hey, hey, tune in, now you can't miss. Making sure that you get your daily wake up with. We yelling bam, good vibes, good energy. Bam, being authentically me. Shout out Little Mo and Trinity, that's me. Gotta keep it in the family. Hey, your girl Tasha, YGT. Time to get it hot. This is what you need. Hey, go ahead, turn it up. This my jam. Being authentically like bam. Your girl Tasha, hey, let's dance. Being authentically me like bam. Yeah, now it's time to get it. Wake up. Time to handle business. Yeah, now it's time to get it. Wake up. Time to handle business. Yeah, we about to get it live with your girl Tasha. Hey, like bam. Let's go.
Hey, it's your girl Tasha, known to the world as the Tasha Carpenter, but everybody calls me your girl Tasha because when you hang with me, what? It's like you are hanging with your girl. And guys, y'all know what my favorite word is. It is bam, because I'm always being authentically me. Please allow me to be authentic with you guys. This morning, every damn thing is going on. It's just been absolutely crazy. Y'all would not believe it. Can't find my eyeglasses. The makeup case disappeared. I mean, really, Gladys will tell you, literally like 15 minutes ago, I was talking to her in my nightgown. But that's all right. We about to go ahead and have us a... Did I just tell y'all who's on here? Lord have mercy. Anyway, we about to have a great show because it's another election edition. And who do we have joining us? Well, bam. It is Gladys Weatherspoon joining us this morning, guys. She is a candidate for Prince George's County Circuit Court Judge. Hey, lady.
Hey, good morning again. Nice to see you dressed.
Thank you. I know, right? I'm so glad you a lady. I don't know what to do. I was like, everything is just going wrong this morning. It make no sense. I don't even got the right glasses on. I sure hope I can read everything. I ain't get to test the lights, nothing. So tell our viewers, and this is an opportunity, guys. Y'all know what the thing is. Good morning, Terrence Coleman. I see you on here. Good morning. And guys, before we get started, as I always say, please make sure that you share and invite. But Gladys, go ahead and tell everybody about who you are.
Okay.
As a person. And we'll get to all the good candidate stuff later on. But talk to them about a person, you and your hobbies and all that stuff. You might want to tell them about your hubby and all this other kind of stuff.
Okay. So I'm Gladys Weatherspoon. I am Afro-Latina. That is, I was born in the United States. I was the anchor baby for my family. I'm the youngest of 9 children. And everybody's here in the United States at this point. Oh, no, one of my brothers moved back about 3 years ago. I have a dog named Shakira, and I have a wonderful husband, Elwan Weatherspoon. He is a police officer for Metro Transit, but his main gig, I always say, is that he's a drummer for Heatwave and his band, We Are One, a tribute experience band to Frankie Beverly, which has been playing all over the country until COVID hit. We were really doing really great. I managed the band, but then COVID hit and everything, of course, slowed down. What are my hobbies? I spend a lot of time with my dog, really. And I have actually grown by running for office because I used to be able to go to work, finish what I have to do, put my head down, hope nobody noticed me, and come back home. And just did a great job and come back home and just go on about my day with my dog and my reading. I love reading. And now I've had to talk to people. I've learned to be comfortable doing that. And so there's a new kind of me.
Well, girl, I hate to interrupt you here, but I was going to say that, hey, hold on. Good morning, Aunt D. Did you hear that? You and Ma used to play the 45 and the 33 records. Her husband's a drummer and Heatwave girl. But anyway, look, I have to say, because I'm sitting here, I'm listening to you. I say, is it just because she's at home in the computer? Because you were with me during the general elections and you did an interview. You came to the studio at WBGR, which I'm not in currently because of the pandemic. And I told them I'm not coming back till they get the new studio done. Shout out WBGR. And yes, I do see a different type of a confidence, a different type of glow. Not like you pregnant or anything, but an energy about
No,
you.
I'm not pregnant.
Okay.
Too old for that. I'm 56.
Girl, me too. I had my transmission dropped a long time ago. But anyway, let's go ahead and get serious. Guys, this is what happens when you hang with your girl Tasha. You know, that's a different kind of thing. I'm just going to be me. And Gladys, you know, I'm going to let her be her. But I just cut up. I cut up. And, you know, this is a serious matter. But we get the information out because those of you who are watching, you're watching because you don't want to see that old sorry stuff on the news and all this other kind of stuff in the way they do. Thank you for sharing, Andre Johnson. We appreciate you. We you know, the way the news do candidates and all this other kind of stuff, the McLaughlin group type of stuff. People, everybody doesn't relate to. And what we need to attract right now is the new energy people. We need the new energy people. That's why we need people to go out and, girl, did you hear that on vote.org that they had over 1 million people that actually registered as new voters? They were talking about that on the radio.
Goodness.
Yeah, so but the job is
great. That is great. Yeah.
Yes, I was like, oh my goodness. Hey, Juanita Terrell, how are you? Good morning, darling. Good morning. So we're gonna go ahead and get to it. I want you to tell us about you know, why are you running for Prince George's County circuit judge of the circuit court or circuit court judge? I say it backwards all the time, but whatever. Y'all see it on the screen. That's it. Why are you running for this position?
Okay, so I've been a lawyer for 25 years, for over 25 years at this point. And I've been practicing mostly criminal law and defense in protective orders. And because I've been in the courtroom watching what's going on, I have slowly started to believe that we needed a change. Like, I can advocate for my clients to get a better sentence if we lose. I can advocate for a creative sentence to have my clients do different things. I can do that one at a time, or I can be a judge and kind of work with the community and helping people in their lives. So I just decided to run based on what I've been seeing. There's been kind of uneven justice. I was in a courtroom once where the judge said to the only white defendant in the room, look around you, you see you don't belong here. And that actually was the last thing that happened that made me say, I have to run.
What he say? Girl, I was looking for the button to bring you back online. Like, you don't even have to stop talking. I was coming back on the screen. What did he say?
He said to the only white defendant in the room, there were Spanish people, there were Black people. And I literally wasn't even looking up because I was preparing for my own hearing. And he said, look around you, you don't belong in here. And literally the whole room gasped, right? Because we were like, what does he mean? And so that was actually the last thing that happened. And it happened in like October. And then in December, I went and filed to run. It was that quick when I said, okay, if that's how people think, he's willing to say it out loud, then we need somebody in the courtroom who doesn't think that everybody in there looks a certain way, and believes that anybody that doesn't look like us doesn't belong in.
Oh, wow. Look, Juanita is like me. She said, wow, girl, I'm wowing right with you. I see a little bit of freezing going on, but we're gonna proceed to go out. It looks like you're glitching a little bit. And we have joining us from YouTube. Mary Jane said, wow, that was totally horrible. And Latasha Renee Ward is saying, glad you had the heart to run, Gladys. Absolutely. To make a change. So, you know, that thing almost makes me want to, I'm going to try to go in order of my questions, but that thing almost took me to one of my other questions, but that's okay. I'm going to stay there with it. So, the other thing I want to address, Gladys, is that, oh my goodness, you hear so many people that say that their votes don't count or they're not planning on voting, or and this is when it comes to a year where we have a president going on. it's even more prevalent when it deals with people who are at the local races. So I want you to speak to why it's definitely important for people to vote, especially in this election, 2020. If you ain't never
Right.
voted before, it's time for you to vote. And in particularly too, why is it important for a person to vote for judges? And I think that what you just
Okay.
said is one prime example.
Right. That's one prime example. I think, first of all, the current president won by only 700,000 votes, period. And you just said 1 million people just registered. That could have been the difference in who would have been president had those 1 million people voted, 4 years ago. So it's definitely important to vote always. But when it comes to your local elections, I feel like that's even more important because those are the people that end up being your national people, right? Everybody starts local. So you got to watch what they're doing. The people that they're picking for Supreme Court were once a circuit court judge, who then was a federal judge, who's now, so it's important that you pick your judges because these are the people who decide your life immediately and who later will probably decide the law of the land.
All right. Look, Andre Johnson said he was president and he shouldn't be a judge. Good morning, Melissa. Thank you for joining us. Again, guys, remember to share and invite. Latasha Ward, check the bottom of the screen, girl. I saw you put up the information. She was like, get involved, honey. We got it scrolling at the bottom of the screen. You know your girl, Tasha, professional. There we go. There we go. Now, I think that I've done enough. I've had several different candidates on that are actually running for the circuit court judge or judge of the circuit court in different counties. So I'm pretty confident that my viewers who are regular probably know the duties of a circuit court judge. So if you could just give a brief summary for those who may be tuning in for the first time, let them know what type of cases and things is handled by a circuit court judge.
So the circuit court is a higher court than a district court. The district court judges hear lower cases, and the circuit court judge hears higher cases. So they have the jury cases, both in civil and criminal matters. They have the bigger family divorce cases, and that's really the biggest difference. And they also do the appeals for the district court judge. So if you in district court and you appeal, you're appealing to a circuit court judge who makes a decision about if your case should be reheard.
Okay, now what type of qualities and characteristics should just be absolutely bare minimum that a circuit court judge or any judge, what kind of qualities and characteristics should they have?
Well, obviously they have to be a lawyer, they have to be a citizen, they have to, in Maryland, y'all should have to have lived in Maryland, I think for 6 months in Prince George's County, or in any county, you have to live in the county for 6 months. But personally, I think what's important is integrity and fairness and being able to be unbiased, which I think, everybody has their own feelings about things, right? Their own opinions about things, but sometimes it's difficult to be able to see each person as an individual. And I think that's the strongest thing that we need, that a judge to see every person who walks in there as somebody new and not, another person in an orange jumpsuit.
Okay, all right. Now, some people, some of your opponents are doing a heavy campaigning, talking about how they've given back to the community. So I want to ask with you, going into this, what type of things have you done to give back to the community with regards to your legal field?
Okay, so first of all, I have continually for the last 10 years, I have been giving seminars on knowing your rights, and I'm still doing them. Unfortunately, we have to do it on Zoom. And basically, anybody who calls me and say, I have 10 people, I will show up on their Zoom and teach people about how to respond to being stopped by the police, both in a car or walking, when you're called in for questioning or anything like that. So I've been doing that consistently for the past 10 years. I continuously have slept out for the homeless. That's not legal. That's just what I do. I sleep out for the homeless every year. I think it's important that we bring awareness to it and try to help these teens that are homeless, because usually teens who are homeless are thrown out by their parents because of their sexual orientation. So I spend time doing that. And I'm also on the executive board of Women Walking in Their Own Shoes. That's in Prince George's County. And we help women in Prince George's County in need.
Okay.
So I've been busy. I've been busy.
Now, I would think too that what might fall underneath of giving back to the community may also mean that you might do some kind of pro bono cases or do work for litigants for free. Is that something that you have done in the past?
So I literally do cases based on income, because I want everybody to be able to feel like if I want to get Gladys Weatherspoon, I can get Gladys Weatherspoon, and not to toot my own horn. But I have been named as one of the top 100 lawyers in the country, and so I really do that. And I've had times where people said they're going to pay me, and they never did, but I didn't stop the work, and it's unfortunate because all that does is help me help somebody else, right? If you say you can pay more, then later it'll help me pay that person, help that person who can't pay as much. But I have not quit cases because somebody couldn't finish their payments. So I think that I have done pro bono. I have done a lot of pro bono cases. I don't know if it was like a decision that I made or it just happened to end up being pro bono, because once somebody comes in and tells me their story and I get attached, it's kind of hard for me to just say, no, I don't want to do your case because you don't have the money. So I end up doing it.
Okay, cool. Now, Andre Johnson says, congratulations on being voted top 100. And we have a question coming in from YouTube from Mary Jane. She says, how does a judge remain unbiased given personal beliefs? For example, with your husband being in law enforcement. Great question, Mary Jane.
That is a great question, and I have to say, I wouldn't have married any old police officer. He and I have the same beliefs about what's important, about who needs to be arrested, who shouldn't be arrested, who shouldn't be in jail. No, you do have your own personal beliefs, right? And my personal beliefs is that jail was made for people who have committed serious violent crimes or repeat offender. And as a matter of fact, my husband, who's a law enforcement officer in Metro, believes the same thing. And so I think that while I believe that, if I had a choice, I kind of feel like, oh, I don't really want to put people in jail. That's the truth. I really don't. But I also know that if you committed a violent crime, I have to put my personal beliefs about jail aside and sentence a person accordingly.
Okay, so Mary Jane, why are you on here trying to mess up the order that I have my questions in? Because I actually
okay.
do have a question, two questions kind of related to that. But I think in all fairness, I need to go where I was going to go at first. And we're going to come back to that topic, because what I want you to do is to talk about your experience that you have and how you believe that experience is going to translate into you gaining a seat on the bench, and how it would help you in that if you're elected as candidate for a circuit court judge.
Okay, so I've been practicing strictly defense for 25 years. And what has taught me in the courtroom is that even the lawyers in defense cases aren't treated with dignity and respect. We're kind of just like extra. I feel like most of the time judges want to say, hurry up and sit down so I can say guilty, right? Hurry up and sit down so I can go ahead and sentence your person, because they're not really listening to us. And so I feel like that is the biggest thing that I take on with me. Somebody said that to me the other day, where you're biased, you don't want anybody in jail, and I don't think you should be making those kind of decisions. I'm not biased about if somebody needs to go to jail. I'm biased about the belief that every single person who's charged with a crime should go in jail. I think that you have to see each person, each individual. I hate when I go in the courtroom and they put my client up on a screen instead of bringing him into the courtroom. Because, I mean, right now it's because of COVID, but that happens in Prince George's County anyway. A lot of the hearings, the client is on a screen. The very first time the client is in court, he's on a screen. And I'm standing in the courtroom by myself. I can't talk to him. I can't ask him a question if I need to clarify something. And the judge usually isn't even looking at the screen, because he's looking at me, or she's looking at me, and the screen is next to the judge. And I just think that those are the kind of things that, knowing that I bring that to the table to be more cognizant of that, and appreciate that somebody wants to be heard and looked at when they're in front of me.
Okay, now look, your girl Tasha just popped into nosy bam mode. Get real. Now I'm gonna go back. I gotta go back to this comment that you made about this judge telling this white young man that he shouldn't be here. Look around, you don't belong here. By any chance, is there any of the current seated judges? I'm not gonna ask you to name it, but was it one of the current seated judges?
Not one of the ones running, but he's seated. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not one
Wow.
of the ones running.
Okay. Now that's a good thing. He's not one of the ones running, but he's seated. So
Mhm.
he gets to remain in the position?
Yes, he remains for the 15 years of his term, whatever that is.
Okay. So then that brings us to the ones that are running right now. What is the actual makeup of the judges right now? The current bench?
You mean by race, color,
Yeah.
sex, what?
Uh-huh.
Um, the people running right now is the benches, the people on the bench right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there are 4 judges running. There were 5, but one dropped out. Judge Bariano dropped out. So now there are 5 seats and 6 of us running. And that's Judge Kelsey, Judge Curry. Those are 2 Black women. Judge Surratt is a white woman, and Judge McCarthy is a white man.
Okay, so you said there's 5 seats and there's 7 of you running.
6
Okay.
of us running. There were 7 in the primaries. Judge Bariano dropped. And so there's 6 of us running.
Okay, all right. And to my understanding, of course, Surratt is going up for re-election, and the other
Right.
ones, they were
The other ones were
appointed.
appointed in the last 2 years. And when you get appointed, you have to run in the very next election.
Okay, so a lot of people don't like that appointment process there. And then a lot of people feel that, that they are more qualified simply based on position that to get there you have to be vetted.
Mhm.
So with you,
I
what is
haven't
your
been vetted.
okay, you haven't been vetted.
I
And how
haven't been vetted, but I'm gonna tell you what vetted means, because vetted carries this big weight. And vetted is you went and talked to a bunch of bar associations, and the bar association said to the panel of the committee, to the governor, okay, we like this person to be a judge. And I think there's so much more to it than that. And that's literally it. I mean, they do a background check on you, but I'm a lawyer, so if I had any criminal cases, I wouldn't be a lawyer. I'd be disbarred. If I did anything untoward, I'd be disbarred. So that's being vetted, and I've been vetted by the community because they've seen me in court. And so the committee is a committee of people appointed by the governor. So the people who are picking who goes to the governor were picked by the governor. And so it's just to me, it's just one big circle. And one of the reasons I didn't do it, one, because I waited too late. I don't know if I would have done it if I had thought about it. But the other reason is that one person on the committee, I was against her in court one day, and she said, I know you want to be a judge. You will never be a judge. Your name will never go up. So I had to figure out the rules. The rules said I could run on my own. So I'm running, because if somebody in the committee is so much against me because I won a case against them, then I could never be a judge. That's not fair.
Girl, you got me scared about the courtroom and more like I don't want to go in there and break no laws. And it sounds like I don't want to even go see anything at all. We got Miss Nene Tay saying I'm Team Weatherspoon all the way, baby. All right,
Thank
Nene.
you.
So now this goes back to our YouTube question that we had earlier, kinda. Well, you know what? I'll come back to that.
You're making me nervous.
Don't be nervous, girl. Don't be nervous. You're grown. You can handle it. You can handle it. So I want to talk about. I learned through interviewing another judge and doing some research that, of course, judges, no matter what, everybody has their own philosophy. Everybody has their own personal belief, like Mary Jane brought up and things like that. But then also judges have their ideologies that follow them as well too, depending on where they lean towards things, right? So, I want to know, how are you planning on weighing the law, your philosophies, your ideologies, and common sense on the bench? Was that bad? You still alive over there?
Yeah. Huh? Okay. I think that all of those things go together, except that once you weigh the law, once you make the decision about what the law is, that the rest of it can just kind of come together and you make your decision, which is hard for me to say, right? I will say this. The guy, for me personally, the guy who was trying to get into my car to steal, had he gotten caught, I don't think, yes, it's a law, it's a crime, right? We resolved that. So let's say he decides he's going to plead guilty to attempted burglary, right? He's tried to get into my car. I don't think that that guy has to go to jail in order to pay the consequences for terrorizing me in the middle of the night. And I don't think that's going to change. That's how I feel about a person who's tried to victimize me. And I think that you just have to use your compassion for everybody in order to give a fair sentence that would help the community and still have the person pay consequences. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense to me. Does that make sense to y'all? If it don't, type a question in the comments and we'll discuss it. We'll get your question answered if it didn't make sense to you. You know, like they always say, no question is a it's a stupid question, bad question, especially when it comes to you putting people in, electing people to represent you, and that might do something. Let's see what this comment that came up said. Yes, it made sense to her. So guys, at this time, I want you to know, of course, we have a lot of people who are not returning. This is off subject, but I'm gonna come back, that are not returning to serve as election judges and chief judges. And there is definitely a need for people to volunteer for that. So right now we're going to break to a short commercial and see you on the flip side that talks about the importance of you being able to do your civic duty. And your girl Tasha's a chief judge, you know, and COVID-19, we have to talk about that when we come back. COVID-19 has caused a lot of people to have fear about that. And I'm just seeing, my goodness, the number of people that disappeared on me the night before that was supposed to come and work with me. I was like, 7 of y'all done quit the night before. Come on now. So let's listen.
What did you do? Okay, we'll talk about it later.
Well, let's talk about why. Listen to this important public message.
Poll workers are very important because they help facilitate the voting process.
Most individuals who work elections are over the age of 65. With the COVID-19 pandemic, that is a population that is incredibly vulnerable. That is why I signed up and received trainings to become a poll worker.
I signed up to be a poll worker. My mom actually brought it to my attention. She presented it to me, letting me know that it would be a great opportunity to make some quick extra money, as well as to get to know the voting system. And once I got all that information, I turned it right over to Ty, and I said, hey, do you want to do the election with me?
As a poll worker, it was my job to ensure everyone coming to vote was registered and received the correct ballot.
We go in and set up all of the equipment to make sure when voters come the next day, their experience is as pleasant as possible. Why should you become a poll worker? One, it's a great way to give back to your community. It's also a great way to see democracy in action.
I would encourage more young people to come out and work the election polls and bring your friends.
It makes the time go by faster,
Sure does. It makes a difference when poll workers reflect the communities in which they serve.
Yes. You know, that is
7 people.
Girl, I was like, what in the world is going on? It was so crazy. And you know what? I mean, I hate this. I hate to say it. I better not say that on here.
That's
Girl.
a lot. I just wonder, it concerns me, because if you lost 7 people, did that mean that the lines were slower, or that something else?
They got people out there. They got people out there to replace them. You know, when I made the call in the morning, they were able to gain new people. In some cases, there were people who were in the pools to become election judges that didn't necessarily. I had to do like on-site training with a few of them, and you know, the younger ones that came in was very good. But what I wasn't going to say is that I found that some of the people, because of the pandemic, and the people who were willing to volunteer, I just found that I worked with some of the bottom of the bucket. That's all. I'm gonna just say it. That's me. I mean, I done communicated it to them, so whatever. I done said it, and I don't care. So even if the 7 came, we still had to end up going over top of the number of quantities that we had at that time too. We had to keep calling people in because so many people were coming out. So I guess that brings us to the whole thing about with COVID-19. There's a lot of people who don't want to go and be subjected to voting in person. This whole issue that's going on with the ballots and whether or not mail-in ballots are going to be valid and them being illegal, being that you are in the legal field, can you speak to that and ease any concerns for people and tell them what do you think is the best option? Should you go vote in person? Or should you do the mail-in ballot? And if so, do you know anything about how someone, because I mean, I know I saw on the website, you can track your ballot and see how it's going and all this stuff. So if you could just speak to that for people to ease some nerves.
Yeah, and I tracked my ballot. Every time this thing pops up, I tracked my ballot when I voted in the primaries. So I knew exactly, that helped me know where they were in the counting. So I said, okay, if they counted my ballot, that means they counted the people who voted in this place. But listen, there's nothing wrong with mail-in voting. I actually think the best way right now is to go to one of those boxes that they put up. There's going to be 40 of them, I understand. And there's a list on the website. There's 42 of them, and they're secure. They have a police officer there 24 hours, 7 days a week. So you know that the boxes are secure and nobody can mess with them or try, they can't try to get in them or anything like that. So I think that your vote is safe when you do that. I think you're also safe if you come in and vote, as long as you do what we've been doing. Wear your mask. Sometimes when I go to the grocery store, particularly, I wear gloves, and you just keep your distance from other people, and it's safe. It's going to take longer, but it's safe. But I really believe I personally wouldn't put it in a mailbox at this time because of everything that's been going on with the mail. But there are 40 boxes out there at every high school, FedEx Field, and I just saw one at Prince George's County Board of Elections, and people were in line at Prince George's County Board of Elections to put in their ballots already.
Awesome. So guys, she mentioned that there's a website that you can go to. It's scrolling at the bottom with information on when early voting will take place and actual voting day. If you go to elections.maryland.gov, you can find a lot of information. You can verify whether or not you are considered as still being registered. There's some people who may believe that you're registered, but when you come there, you're going to be told that you're invalid because maybe you set out too many elections and not voted before. A lot of people are really irritated and ticked off and want to vote this time around. So I suggest going to that website, verifying that you are definitely still valid, looking at the information on how to track your ballot, and put in your request, because when it comes to requesting your mail-in ballot,
we still have about 2 weeks. And we received ours. My husband and I received ours. They just came on Monday. So they're showing up. I've seen people on Facebook who are saying, look, I voted. And the best thing is that I thought early voting on October 26th meant that you couldn't go put your ballot in, but you actually can do it right now. The boxes are out there. You can put your ballot in there and go on with your life and know that and then you can wait and watch it through the system.
Exactly. We had people the day of that just chose not to come into the center, and they just wanted to go to the.
Are we frozen?
Am I frozen? Somebody in the audience, can you tell me if we're frozen?
Okay, you're good now.
Oh, okay. Was I frozen? Okay.
Okay.
So
you were frozen for a second, yeah.
Okay, so what I was saying is that on the day of election, we had a lot of people that chose to go straight to the box on that day and put their ballots in the mail instead of coming into the facility. So definitely get yourself educated. Go to the website. Make sure that everything is correct. Andre Johnson, are you saying no? You still have not received your ballot? Oh, you saying no, I'm not. I'm getting a couple of notes. Y'all saying no, I'm not frozen. So was it Gladys frozen and not me? See, y'all be tripping. Y'all be acting
Here
like
we
your girl
go.
Tasha frozen. That's what y'all be doing. So let's get back to it. Where do you see areas for improvement in the Prince George's County Circuit Court, and how are you planning on contributing and helping to implement changes in those areas, if any?
Okay, so I'm bilingual, and I've noticed that there are not a lot of interpreters in the courthouse. That kind of stifles a person's understanding of what's going in court, which means they're not understanding what's happening to them at the time that they're in there with a lawyer who might speak Spanish, but says, don't worry about it, just say yes. I'll tell you when to say yes, right? I would feel so much better knowing if I can say to somebody standing in front of me, do you understand what's happening? At least to a Spanish person, which is most of the bilingual people here. I would feel so much better knowing that the person knows what's happening, because I've seen people just carted off to jail, and I don't know that they knew what was going on, and that's frightening to me. I also think that what's really important is the use of these jails. I just can't, I think that if judges spent a overnight at jail, that they would stop just sending people there like it's no big deal. Because while I haven't been there overnight, I've been there a lot, and it's not pleasant. And I think that people wouldn't be using the jail as a teacher, teach them a lesson. Because we did have a judge who was sending all the juveniles to jail, regardless of their background, because he said that then they would know how it feels and they won't come back. I don't think that works, right? I think that's damaging to them. And I don't want to teach lessons by sending people to jail.
Okay, so we have a question coming from Facebook from Miss Kiana Jones. She says, hey, Kiana. She says, what are your thoughts about the county's conviction integrity until? Is that
Unit.
the
She meant unit, yeah.
Okay, because I was sitting there reading it before. That's why I was like, what in the world is that saying? Okay, what are you what are your thoughts about the county's conviction integrity unit, and can you explain why it is important for us to have a strong program?
We need a strong program because people make mistakes, and the conviction integrity unit goes through and makes sure that this was a valid conviction, that there wasn't a mistake. And can I explain the importance of it? The importance of it is that somebody innocent can be in jail and they need to be released. I don't know the strength of the one in Prince George's County, so I won't comment on it. But I think it's important that we have one. I've seen several cases, and we've seen it over and over. People spent years and years in jail because DNA came up. We discovered that they were actually innocent.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with that. That's something new. I didn't know that was something that exists there. Do they just randomly pull cases and check them for their integrity, or does someone have to say that I think there's something went wrong here, or how do they get there?
I believe that somebody has to say, hello, I really mean I'm innocent, I don't think that they just go randomly and check. I'm not in that unit, so I can't tell you what their procedure is. But my feeling is that in most integrity units, they're not going to go through every single case, right, in the country. They just don't have the ability to do it. So I think in most integrity units around the country, what they do is when somebody makes a complaint, they assign somebody to that case to determine if there was anything that was done unjustly. And because be very clear, prosecutors have been known to not give you Brady evidence that will exonerate your client. Prosecutors have done that. And that's the kind of thing that we have to be careful about, because they get so involved on, I'm sure that my witness is right, and that means I'm sure that your client is guilty, that they will just, not pass off anything that would show anything different. Which, by the way, is inappropriate and unethical.
Okay. Hello. Greetings to you, Dr. Carla Cornegay. Andre Johnson was inquiring, I guess, do they still have the Scared Straight programs for juveniles?
I don't think they have that in Prince George's County. No.
Okay. So now looking at, they used to, they may not have it anymore. And I know that they used to because your girl Tasha had to spend the night and see outside when she was 17. I had to spend the night in a jail cell. Okay. Get it, don't be coming and
but the difference between that, I'm sorry, Tasha, I didn't mean to cut you off. But the difference between scared straight is, you're going in there, you have volunteered to go in there, or your parents have volunteered you, so they have, put you to go. So your parents have volunteered you, but you still know you're getting out, that this is a lesson. But when you have a juvenile in court in front of a judge and he says, I'm putting everybody in jail, he just put everybody in jail, at least for a week, so that they know what it's like. That's just not appropriate, because every kid that's in there is not the same, and you have to consider that. Some are slow learners, some are in there mistakenly, some, this is their first offense. Some of them is stuff that we used to get in trouble for in school, that all you did was get in school suspension, and now all of a sudden everybody's going to jail for the same thing.
So, I had a question about the whole thing with the prison to pipeline, school to prison pipeline. And what do you perceive as any kind of suggestions or solutions that can help us tear that thing down?
So I've had this discussion a million times. These officers in the schools are not the same officers that were in the school when I was in school. When Officer Friendly came, that's exactly what he was. He was officer friendly. He bought us a coloring book and a crayon box with 4 crayons in it. Because I used to always say, but where are the other colors? But you got 4 crayons in it. And he helped you tell him if something was going wrong in your life, as opposed to the officers in the school now who are there to arrest people for regular school stuff. I mean, it's a difference between a kid bringing a knife to school, right? And 2 people getting in a fight at school and somebody lost. Do you really have to go to jail because you're fighting? And I'm not advocating fighting. I'm just saying that if there's a fight in school and somebody lost, the next step shouldn't be you need to go to jail and charged with assault.
Okay, so Latasha Renee Ward said that she loved Officer Friendly. So then that's not the answer. That shouldn't happen. What do you present that may be some solutions or alternatives to doing that? That doesn't exist in Prince George's County already.
Say again?
Alternatives that don't currently exist in Prince George's County. What do we have to do?
So right now, we actually have one court that I actually like in Prince George's County, where it's actually just other students in there, and they decide the case, right? So now they're learning, and they are learning about the system, and they're deciding what's appropriate punishment for that person. I think that's great, because you don't need to have, jail time for everything. I think that these officers in schools need to be changed. And I definitely think that we need to get back to community policing. That is, that the police officer that's in your area should live in your area. Because I do think that if you have an officer who lives in your area and he knows Spoon hanging out, that's my husband's nickname, so I'm just using him as an example. Spoon hangs out in front of that darn deli all the time, and he's not going to school, and he's just being a pain. If the officer keeps going by and says, Spoon, you need to get to school. Spoon, you need to get out of this area. Even when Spoon messes up really bad, that officer is not going to shoot him, because he knows him. He knows who he is, and that's not going to be his response, to just shoot him because he's being agitated.
Okay, so we're going to get there too. That's part of my discussion as well. Now, I agree with you. Michelle Ford said the system needs major improvements. Innocent people go to jail, and people that need to go to jail walk free. I totally understand that. So with you talking about that comment, talking about where a cop that knows the community is present, then the person is less likely to be shot or killed. Okay. Now, particularly, we're going to talk about it because the ones who are getting shot and killed mostly are us Black people. And the climate today surrounding Black Lives Matters, surrounding police reform, surrounding the hatred that has always been prevalent, but now it's cool to be open with it because of our president of
Yeah.
the United States, has created where a lot of people are saying, you know what? We talk about buy black now, and we talk about vote black too, right? People are saying that. I don't say that because that ain't gonna work for me. But for you, I want to ask that question. What do you feel? Do you feel that people should vote for you simply because you're a Black woman?
No, I think that I have all of the qualifications necessary, and I happen to be a Black woman, and that's a reason to vote for me. If I were white with these same values, I would still be a great candidate for judge. So I don't think that that's the reason to vote for me. I have the experience. I've been in that courtroom for 25 years. I've seen what's happening to our young boys, particularly young Black boys. And so, no, the answer isn't quick. Oh, she's Black. Let me just vote for her. Do I have the experience? Yes. Do I have the compassion? Yes. Have you heard about what I've been doing in the community? So yes, yes, yes. That's the reason to vote for me.
All right. And Belinda Queen said that community policing is the key to unity in the community. Absolutely. Now, also along that line, we know for a fact there's a lot of disparaging treatment that's going on with regards to who gets locked up and who doesn't get locked up for the same crime along the race line. The same thing,
that's true.
Based on race, and it has been a long time concern for people. Also, there's concern for people who are victims of bad apples in law enforcement. We do not hate law enforcement, but there are clearly bad apples in law enforcement, and they do not get held accountable. And the arm of justice does not fall on the victim at this time. Too often, it's just going back and looking at their history and things of that nature. So there's a lot of mistrust because of this, and rightfully so. What, if anything, do you think that having the bench of judges, how can they help with easing the concerns of people and make a change where we're not seeing all this disparaging treatment? You come in here, you took a now later off the shelf, go home, stand a time out, and this one going to jail for 3 years. So speak to that and what it is that you can do in regards to that in your position.
I think that judges should be paying. I hate when that happens, but I think that judges should be paying attention when it happens, and when it's happening. It happened to me, right? I had the white client. And I had a co-defendant who was Black. My client was the one holding. If you do that one more time, my client was the one holding the gun. My client was the one holding the gun, and he got the better plea offer. And we went to the same judge, right? So it was an armed robbery because my client was holding a gun. The Black guy, who was not my client, got the plea offer to a mandatory time. And my client, who was the white client who had the gun, got the plea offer to no mandatory time. That's a huge difference, because mandatory time meant at least 5 years for the guy who actually was just the lookout standing outside. And my client had no mandatory time. He could get probation. Of course, my problem was this was my client, so I couldn't complain, right? But if a judge is seeing that happening, right? If you're supposed to be being fair, and you see that happening, you need to say something to the prosecutors and say, what is happening here? Why are these pleas so different, given that we know the facts? Because the judge would have heard the facts. I was the one inside with the gun, and the poor Black guy standing outside was the lookout. And you're giving us there's a difference between 0 to probation to 5 years to starting at 5 years.
Okay, so do judges actually have that liberty to do that, to advocate for people?
That's not advocating for people, right? I think that it's fair for a judge to say, what is happening here? That's not advocating for any particular client. That's a question that needs to raise awareness to the prosecutor's office. In other words, I'm watching, right? I'm seeing what's happening. I don't like it, and I want you to know that I see it.
All right. Andre Johnson says some judges get paid to put people in jail. We had Dr. Colligay. Here we go. Say both for qualifications and what people actually stand for. Liars and dividers destroy the communities that they are supposed to lead. Community policing is definitely necessary as well. So, okay, so is there anything else? Because some people would say, oh, here's a question coming in from Kiana Johnson. Should police officers' misconduct records be made available? If they are known for perjury, should they be allowed to bring charges or testify at a trial? What's your opinion on that?
I think that police misconduct records should be part of the record, and juries should know if a police officer has lied before. But usually what happens, to be honest, is that when a judge has determined that a police officer lied, prosecutors would just turn around and put somebody else on the stand to tell the story. So they don't even get to hear that there was an officer involved in the case that had these issues, right? Because if there's 3 officers on the scene and one of them has been known to perjure themselves, they can very well just put in another officer on the stand to avoid that. That has happened to me. I have been put in jail from yelling about that very situation, because I was just so just in an uproar that I couldn't cross the officer who, to me, created the situation. And so I felt like you put somebody on here who really wasn't the main officer so that the truth doesn't come out to the jury.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Caller says the justice system, I believe, wasn't made to help and protect Black and brown people, and some of our people need to do better. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's a true statement there. Now, you was like,
but let me just say this: our people do better when somebody expects them to do better. I've been doing this forever, and I have clients now who are I have a chef out there. Oh, I have somebody. I was thinking about who else do I have out there, because I've been saying the same thing. I have a community activist. I have a person who became a paramedic, because I said to them, you are not a criminal. You committed this crime, and I expect better from you. And they were very happy to come back and say to me, oh, look what I've done. People live up to our expectations. And I think since most judges expect you to violate, other than saying, don't you violate because I'm going to see you again, what I would want to say to them is, I expect you to do better. So let me know when you do something great, because my clients did better. Not all of them, obviously. I have some who have recidivism, but for the most part, I have a good group of clients who did better because I expected better from them.
Okay, now you said you was kind of hesitant or scared about some questions that I had. Now this one might invoke some kind of feelings. You might feel what they say? Feel some kind of way. Okay.
Feel some kind of way. Okay.
Yes. Some have expressed, I won't name the some, but some have expressed that the quality of justice on the current bench must remain. When you hear that, what is the first thing that comes to your mind and why?
The quality, say that again.
The quality of justice on the current bench in Prince George's County Circuit Court must remain.
I think that is a statement that they're trying to suggest that I'm not good enough. And I think that's consistent with people not being open to difference, because not being the same doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means I'm different. And so I actually don't feel any kind of way about it. It doesn't really hurt my feelings or anything. I think it's a shame that somebody would say that without looking me up and finding out what I'm about.
Okay, all right. So what kind of quality of justice are you going to bring to the bench? And being as though that you said, what was it? 5 seats, six people running, there's very possible that you and the other candidate that is currently not a seated judge may one may get in, two may get in. How do you gel with the other ones that's been there that might feel some kind of way because the person they've been working with all these years is no longer there?
I can't worry about them. And they're feeling some kind of way right now. I mean, I think if you've seen us in a couple of panels, you see that they're feeling some kind of way. I can't worry about that because my goal is not about other people. My goal isn't really about me, to be honest. My goal is to make a difference in the justice system. So I can't. And if I don't get in, I will still be here fighting every day. So,
but in the fact that you can't worry about that, but my question is being asked from if you are in there. Other people
right.
can have problems, but the fact is that to serve the community, there has to be some kind of unity amongst the bench to benefit the
It
whole
really
community.
doesn't, because every judge worries about their courtroom. The only thing I can do is encourage other people. I think, frankly, that those people who feel some kind of way, that after about 3-4 months of seeing me in action, that they will bring down their walls. I really think that. I think they will bring down their walls. Right now, they're just scared of something different, right? Because it's never happened. So what is happening here? But I think that once they see who I am in person, that they'll break down their walls and maybe just say to themselves, maybe she's right. Maybe we don't have to put everybody in jail. That's my hope. But for now, I can only worry about that one courtroom that I will be handling and the people that come in there and making sure that they're treated with dignity and respect.
I like that you just said that your work, if elected, will be able to mend fences. See how good that sounds? Girl, please. I like that. I like that. Now tell me, do you have any kind of endorsements that are backing you up, and who have you been endorsed by?
Progressive Maryland. Yeah. CASA in Action is endorsing me. The Carpenters Union is endorsing me. And so is, I want to get it right because it's a fairly new organization. Schools Not Jails. They're also endorsing me.
Okay. My last name is Carpenter. I'm the president of the Carpenters Unions. Okay. So look, judge seats are supposed to be nonpartisan, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So there was a sample ballot that was mailed to my home and some other people's home, sure. And you're on the Democratic sample ballot.
Uh-huh.
Now, there's two things going on here because these sample ballots confuse people because they think that they're official. So, one thing I want to do is let people know that all that pretty colored, where my mouth go? All that pretty colored stuff, all the color pictures and stuff, that's the first clue that is not an official ballot. So if you want to know what an official ballot look like, I don't know if it's coming up clear. Mm-hmm. This is what an official sample ballot looks like. The other stuff is not official. Don't get it twisted. Don't get confused. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. This is it. Okay? This is it. And as LaTasha Ward is just saying, it is a marketing piece. Okay? But now, speaking to this marketing piece that was clearly put out by the Democrats,
I don't know who it was put out with, to be honest. I don't know who put it out, to be honest with you. I saw it. It said something like question 2, and I don't know who that is. So let me start with that. And I know people think like, what? You didn't know who that is? I don't. It's the people who support question 2 who put that out. So I don't think that was the Democratic National Committee.
Okay, so nobody got your permission. Nobody received any funds or any money from you contributing towards the printing, the design, or mailing of it, is what you're saying.
I did not pay for that thing. I did not edit that thing. But guess what? I'm not mad at that thing because there's no way that I was going to be able to reach every person in Prince George's County. And if they support me and they want to say to people, vote for Gladys, I don't see anything wrong with that. I see what's wrong with putting the words official ballot on it. I get that, but it's not my piece. And I'm grateful that they like me and they're supporting me. But I've also seen another one. I think I was shown one at another interview that Shayla Adams put out, and it had my name on it. I'm grateful for that. I saw something in the paper in Greenbelt, somebody put my name on it, and I'm grateful. And frankly, if the Republicans put one out, I would be grateful if they circled my name too.
Right, exactly, because she's nonpartisan. No way is she promoting anything one way or another. Let's see, Dennis Mamisi. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, sweetheart. Unity is the only substance liking. Until it's been restored, things will always look distracting. Okay, so all right, good point. Good point. Latasha says that the official ballot bid not on it.
I don't know what that means. Sorry.
I don't know what it
Ballot.
means either. I'm gonna just take it off the screen right now because I don't know what Latasha's talking about either. But anyway, so I got just a few more questions and that I wanted to get to. Okay. Oh, we already did that one.
Where's Shakira?
Okay, so look. She said black and white. Oh, that's not that comment. Your black and white comment was way above that, and I had already showed it before you said it. I showed a picture of it right here.
Why y'all fussing?
Right, that's what Latasha Ward does. I don't know why she won't come and try to take over. But anyway, okay. So look, with it, I think that we touched base on everything that I had on the table. But let me get your thoughts about the whole thing. Dealing with police reform, if you're allowed to speak on it, and this whole thing about defund the police.
Okay. For me, defund the police means take away all that money that goes towards military equipment to the police. I don't think the police should be militarized. I mean, I think that's what happened. We might as well be in China if the police is going to be militarized. The police is supposed to be a community group to help keep order and not just, come in with some tanks and stuff. So when I'm thinking defund the police, that's what I'm thinking. I know some people are thinking defund the police, make them all go away. I don't see how that's possible. We still have some issues in the community that it would just be chaos. But we do have to figure out a way. Police reform has to come in. And I really do think it starts with stop bringing police officers in from West Virginia to serve over here, to go home every day to West Virginia. And people, they do it. They take the 2-hour drive to come over here to our little community to then go back home. They don't care about the people here because these aren't their folks. What we need is folks from the community. So I think people in the community should be interested in being police.
Okay, all right. So all I want to do real quick, and then I'm gonna come back and give you a chance to give your final statements. Lord help me. I told her when we were talking through text, child, you're gonna have to tell me how to pronounce your name. And we haven't talked on the phone because she didn't answer the phone because she was too busy for me. But the other unseated judge, how you pronounce her last name?
April Adameluyi. I don't know either, so I don't want to mess it up.
Well, look, this is it. Every week, I always let you know who's the guest next week. So next week, guys, coming on. Let me get this title on here. Oh goodness, let me get this thing down off of here. Hallelujah. Technical difficulties now because I can't pronounce your name. Okay, so next Saturday, guys, our guest will be the other candidate for Prince George's County Judge, Miss April. I'm going to know how to pronounce her name by next week. We'll be on here, so you'll be able to come back and hear from her next week about why you should consider breaking up the establishment, quote unquote, is what she wants to talk about. So she will be on next week here. In addition, what is going on? See, we start off with crazy stuff and we end with crazy stuff. In addition, we want to let you know how if you want to be a guest on Hanging with Your Girl Tasha, you can reach me on 240-545-5695 for bookings. There, it is not just about politics. I have entrepreneurs, authors, entertainers, a whole bunch of stuff. Hopefully you guys caught last week when the Lean on Me hit movie star.
Yeah, that was great.
Here. Yes, he was great. He was so energetic. Is there anyone else that has any other? Oh, well, wait a minute. Somebody's like, great show. Thanks for the info. Okay, Mary Jane, we're not totally over. Oh, and then I want to go through it. We have got to go through the information that's needed for voting because there's some things I just want to make sure everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
To vote by mail, you must request a mail-in ballot from the State Board of Elections of your local board. Your request for a mail-in ballot must be received by October 20, 2020. In addition, guys, early voting will be held for 8 days and begin on October 26, 2020 through November 2nd, 2020. You can vote at any early voting center in the country you live in. In addition here, guys, on election day, that's definitely November 3rd. But what's new for 2020 is that you can vote at any election day voting center in the county that you live in. Traditionally, if you come to a precinct and you're not registered at that precinct, then what we do is we print you out where your assigned precinct is and give you the option to go there or vote by provisional ballot at the current precinct. So that's a change. Anywhere you can get to, no excuses. Don't wait till the last minute to vote. Again, for those who are registering to vote or you need to update or verify your voter registration, that deadline is 10 days away. It's October 13th. And you go over to elections.maryland.gov, okay? And in addition, you can also register to vote at www.vote.org. And then earlier, Latasha had shared another reputable website that can also be utilized too. So with that being said, Ms. Gladys, let me get this off the screen here. Do I have permission to put you forward in the full screen so you could tell people anything that we did not discuss, or just a last minute recap of why they should cast their ballot for you as one of the, 5 seats
Mm-hmm.
for Prince George's County Circuit Court Judge. Are you ready? Close your
Yes,
eyes.
ma'am.
Close your eyes. I'll tell you forward.
Okay. Thank you. So I just want to say thank you, first of all, for having me on here. This has been really great. And the reason I think that I'm the perfect candidate for this is because I've been, as I said, I've been a defense attorney for 25 years. I think I have the temperament and the better ideas of what should happen in the court these days. We need something new in the courtroom. We've been doing the same thing over and over and over. It's not working. Just putting people in jail over and over and over is not working. There's much more to the court, more than criminal cases, but that's probably the biggest thing that people concern themselves with. I have the experience of 25 years of being in a courtroom, knowing what a courtroom should look like, what runs, knowing how to pick a jury. All of those things are important, and knowing how to treat defendants and their attorneys. So I'm asking for your support. You can go to my website, not just the election website, but you can go to my law office website, weatherspoonfirm.com, and you'll know that I haven't changed for an election. This is who I am. And I haven't changed one thing about me except that I've grown more and to be able to do more interviews. So you can go to GladysWeatherspoon.com to contribute, because we still need to feed the volunteers. We got volunteers that are going to be at every single poll voting center, which is every single high school. And we have to feed them. So any amount would help us. If you can hand over $5, $10, $15, $20, that would be great, because these people are standing there. They need to eat and they need to drink. If you want to volunteer, please call 301-466-4506. It's actually fun. I had never done it before. because I'm really not a political person, but it's actually a lot of fun. You get to know a lot of people and you get to communicate with a whole bunch of folks. And thank you very much.
All right, Ladybug, it was an absolute pleasure having you back in it. And I have to say to people, I mean, I mentioned in the beginning, there's just a whole new glow and a whole new level of confidence about you and comfortability and sharing about you. And I wish you the best of luck in your journey to become a circuit court judge in Prince George's County. All right.
Thank you. And when I win, I got to come back.
All right. Absolutely. You're more than welcome to come back. Okay, guys, that's the end of another Hanging With You. Hang around here. We'll talk a little bit after this.
Okay.
This is the end of another Hanging With Your girl, Tasha, and I'll see you next Saturday. Same place. Oh, did I tell you? Like the Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube page. Let me say it again. Like the Facebook page, Your Girl Tasha, and subscribe to the YouTube page, Your Girl Tasha. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Hey, ain't nobody hotter. Thank you for tuning in with your girl Tasha. We handle business, we ain't about to gossip. Here to uplift you, now it's time to boss up. Hey, tune in, nah, you can't miss. Making sure that you get your daily wake up list. We yelling bam, good vibes, good energy. Bam, being authentically me. Shout out Little Mo and Trinity, that's mini me. Gotta keep it in the family. Hey, your girl Tasha, YGT. Time to get it hype. Hey, this is what you need. Hey, go ahead, turn it up, this my jam. Being authentically me like bam. With your girl Tasha, hey, let's dance. Being authentically me like bam. Yeah, now it's time to get it. Wake up, time to handle business. Yeah, hey, now it's time to get it. Wake up, time to handle business. Yeah, we about to get it live with your girl Tasha. Hey, like bam, let's go.